Oh, I want to do a quick update on this story. It turned extremely weird, and I have some questions here because this is pretty bad. Now, I don't know if it actually happened and everybody's just trying to cover everything and the kid's just acting a criminal on top of it, or it's just a straight up extortion plot and he's making up this whole thing, right? It was funny because when I was reading the story, I was like, this is so outrageous, but it happened. It happens, okay, guys. I don't know. It kind of crossed my mind. I was like, could the kid be lying? But I don't know. I threw it out there, but I was just like, well, we'll see, right? We actually might be dealing with the socio kid because I mean, I think you could say that he would be for saying this stuff. So the husband of the teacher charged insists she's innocent as disturbing new details emerge. He says, my wife is innocent. She's the mother of three kids. Like, this alone doesn't mean anything, right? It's just the other portion that comes up. She's been a big part of the community at our school, and we all support her. We're saying she's innocent. I won't elaborate any further. So they were released without bail at her arraignment Tuesday. I wouldn't comment as she carried a baby inside the home and she was pleaded not guilty. Okay, I'm going to say this. If what I read further on turns into just the whole thing's made up, we're going to blame the investigators here for just arresting somebody without actually properly investigating, because that would be this story. Because it doesn't really elaborate. So it's like, okay, so the teacher allegedly started sending the victim sexually explicit messages via social media in July last year when she was one of his summer school teachers and counselors. But I don't know how they obtained that. Is it just screenshots and they gave it to the cops, or is it something they went through the accounts and saw that she said some things? But then it says the alleged sexual abuse started 2 months later when she began meeting the boy in her car near the school. And she is accused of having sex with the alleged victim in the car at least once a week from October last year until last month. Investigators obtained screenshots of the Instagram messages. Yeah, but how? It's they obtained screenshots. And it's true, anybody can make up screenshots, right? I mean, I've never done that, but maybe as a joke, like adding jokes. I usually do a real screenshot and I'll write over it, you know? But it's all, she had allegedly exchanged with the underage boy that detailed that sexual relationship. But that doesn't sound like a proper investigation, does it to you guys? They've obtained screenshots, but how did they get the screenshot? Like, I'm questioning, I'm like, did they just take it from the boy and that's it? Because, I mean, you do need to go through the regular route, right? Like, getting access to the account to make sure that none of those things are made up, or because it could happen. Boys lie. Oh God. If anything, they lie more than women have ever lied. So that, well, the thing that would make you question this, the next part. Authorities were alerted after the teacher allegedly went to a principal in early July to report that the student had threatened to shoot her. Okay, now we have a 14-year-old. Does he have a gun? And he's threatening physical violence to kill someone. Now, this could happen from sexual abuse too, but what is a 14-year-old doing with a gun and threatening to kill people? See, right here, this is a problem, you guys. That is the thing I was talking about, even in the Menendez case. I was like, yeah, you know, the whole thing about murder. It's like it usually will happen, like, maybe in like severe child abuse cases and they don't feel like there's a way out or something. However, what is a 14-year-old even going on like this? Like, just generally, like before the teacher thing or anything. I would never do that because I didn't have a gun growing up. I mean, I could have stole my dad's, I guess, but I mean, I wouldn't do anything like this. But then also this, watch. And her kid, he would shoot her and her kids. He wants to murder children. That's a socio right there. I mean, I mean, if he actually sent that. Okay, so that's what she reported. If she didn't cough up $5,000. So it says it wasn't clear if she told the principal why the male student was allegedly trying to extort her. The boy who no longer attends the school then allegedly tried to get into the building July 12th with two of his friends, but turned away by cops. Okay, I can give you guys another scenario for this one. I mean, maybe he had a crush on the teacher and kept wanting to meet up with her, and the teacher was just being all nice and talking to him, even though, she probably shouldn't because she's gonna get set up here. Because there was a girl, I keep talking about her because she kept setting everybody get raped and stuff, that she had a crush on one of the teachers, and whatever. Like this guy may have had a plot. Maybe he tried with her and she didn't want to do anything. I mean, thank God. I mean, if that was the case. And then he turned around and started doing this. We could sit here and look at this story in a couple ways. I'm gonna wait to see what they say. Like I said, at the end of that thing, I was like, we'll see what happens here because I don't know. It could be a thing where they did have a relationship and he's just totally criminal and this is how he's taking it out, or she really didn't have a relationship with them and this damn socio kid is trying to do a setup because he's not getting the attention he wants from this teacher. And they could both be socios or it's just the kid. It's a strange story because it's not even like some normal victim. It is definitely a criminally minded young teen. I would have never thought. You guys, did you think about like extortion at 14? That is interesting. But these kids are a lot smarter today than we were as young kids. Like they have a lot more access to knowledge and information online to come up with some bullshit like that. But that wouldn't have been. I mean, I would never do that ever. But I'm just saying it's kind of a bizarre thing to pull up at 14, don't you think? In the shooting part. He's violent already. Yeah, so there's room here that she's not the Sojin, it's just the kid. I want to make that clear on here. So and this story can go a couple ways. It's okay, so the boy who no longer attends the school. Yeah, so he tried to bring his little gang of friends to go in there, probably to try to kill her, try to extort some money. And then days later, the student emailed the principal and the assistant principal screenshots of his alleged sexually explicit conversations with her. Maybe it was a thing where, wait, and accused her of having sex with him. I'm trying to think of how this could have gone, like, as a setup. Like, maybe it was a thing because she does discuss sex ed, right? So she's talking about this thing. And then he manipulated the conversation in some way. Like, again, I'd have to see it. I'm sharp when I see like the evidence. It's just there was no evidence. This story wasn't even with the original. It says the principal subsequently reported the accusations to the Department of Education. What? But how come they didn't with the when she went in saying she was extorted? Like it was the because that's a crime on its own, just the extortion part. But what the hell? Okay, so these just like they didn't protect her from the kid. That's just either way, that's a crime on its own. It's just not making much sense right there. These disturbing allegations represent an abuse of authority and betrayal of trust to students. Well, I'm gonna be. This is gonna be like a cluster F of the law enforcement if it turns out that he manipulated that stuff and you guys just threw her in jail. And you guys didn't actually check stuff. This will remind me of that other story where they threw that woman in jail, and it was actually like the ex-boyfriend's girlfriend that was setting her up to get raped or say some bullshit, right? They didn't even bother to actually look into who actually posted that stuff, and they threw this woman in jail or prison or whatever for a while, and they finally found out, oh, it was the girl making it up. But you kind of assume, right? When you're reading stuff like this, you assume like when they got screenshots that they got like they went into Instagram to like investigate it, right? This actually may be a bad investigation. And then this woman is going to do really well after it. I just want to make sure we change that story. Just the possibility that she might not be the one that's the socio. It just was so weird. I was like, there. What are some other flags that we could find in this? Like posting some crap like that. They do exist, and I thought, oh, I'm lucky today that one of those came up. But she may not be that one. That's really interesting. So these disturbing allegations represent an abuse. Okay, so we went on that. On behalf of the victim and his family, the overwhelming majority of teachers, and well-being of our children, we seek to achieve justice in this case. Okay, so she got slapped with charges. The charges come after ironically shared a Facebook post 2021. Yeah, so I was like, if she did that and then posted it, I said what I had to say on it, but the extortion thing was not in the story. The posts, which include an infograph, advised adults. Yeah, we saw that. That's it. So we have to wait till November 24th. Um, I, you guys, like, I hope that they actually go into Instagram or wherever they're trying to make these claims because the kid is indicating being a sociopath. That now that has more to go off of, really. Like, clearly, like if I see that, like it's like, oh, that's a major flag because he's like running around talking about shooting people and extorting people at 14. Like, what the hell, right? Versus this comment that can be taken in the same way as a serial killer, right? The bragging portion, right? But there was nothing else like you would go, oh, like they didn't post anything else. So I was like, ah, that one. But clearly, there's something wrong with the kid with that stuff right there. What? Okay, so if he was like a healthy minded kid and his family's great, then why wouldn't you go to his family and go, oh, the teacher has been doing this to me, right? Versus extortion plot and a gun and bring in his homies. He sounds like a gangbanger, doesn't he? That stuff right there is not normal. Any victim out here, now I've been a victim a million times over. Any victim out here, did you, now mind you, I know all victims are different in how they act, but did anybody think about extorting their rapist at 14? Like, how many people have been raped at 14 here? Okay, so if you were like, I highly doubt most kids would even. That's telling you something about his home life. That gave me more information than her bullshit. So that, but it could be, we could go in another scenario with it. It could be that she is the sociopath that, that they were trying to put out here, and that she knew he was a disadvantaged kid, like, you know what I mean, like coming from some bad stuff, and then decided to prey on him. That could happen too. But again, this one, we have to wait to see who the guilty party is in this or what the hell happened, because that addition makes it probable that the kid may have made it up. So let's see, okay? We give her that much room here on this one.